The following phrase will be stuck in your head until you listen to Left-Handed Radio. That phrase is
Left-Handed Radio.
Duh.
We are here at the Village Bleachers, and I am here with the creator and the host of Ike at Night, and Nightcap by Ike, and Ike Night, and Ike for the Holidays. He's an artist in residence at Joe's Pub at the Public Theater. He's a member of the 2017 class of Joe's Pub working group. He's America's sweetheart, Ikechukwu Ufomadu.
Thank you so much for that introduction. It was... it indicated that you did a good amount of research, and I appreciate that very much.
Well, it's funny you bring up research because you're into research. You're a bit of an intellectual. Me, I'm kind of like a dummy. I know things. I know about things that I'm passionate about, like laundry. But you kind of have you're well versed in everything.
Yes. I don't know if I would say everything, but most things. I do like to read books on subjects, different subjects. And what you said earlier was a true statement. Yes, I know a lot about a lot.
Well, I'm going to do some housekeeping real quick. I'm going to, as you saw, I put this bottle of Tide here on the table. If at any point you feel like the conversation is dragging or you want to change directions, all you have to do is grab this, spin the label away from yourself, and you can literally turn the tide of the conversation.
I see. Turn the tide of the conversation. Mm-hmm. So Tide is involved in this endeavor.
That not officially. It's just sort of a play on the title.
I see.
Yeah,
I see.
So what's your relationship with doing laundry? How do you do it? What do you do while you're doing laundry? How does it make you feel?
Well, the first load of laundry that I personally did was in the year 2004. That was an election year, and I just moved to this neighborhood. As a matter of fact, I was a freshman at New York University, and for the first time I was living on my own, in a sense, and with that came an expansion of my responsibilities as a young person coming up, and I did a load of laundry.
That's something we don't really touch upon, but I think it is so formative to your relationship with laundry to talk about your first time. So what were the feelings going on? Had you watched your parents do laundry, or was it just the first time? Did you know how to work the machine? This is all really interesting to me.
Yeah, I recall needing a bit of help and feeling a little apprehensive, wondering, am I going to do this right? Am I doing this right? And did I do it right at the end? I think there was a friend of mine living 2 floors beneath me in the dormitory, and I said, how do you do this? We may have even done laundry at the same time. Mm-hmm. And I think she was more familiar with what happens, and so sort of guided me through the whole process.
So you were the Rachel in this situation.
I was the Rachel. Is that a Friends reference?
The first kiss between Ross and Rachel was actually in a laundromat.
Was it really?
Yeah.
What season did this happen in?
I believe season 2, episode 13.
Season 2, episode 13. Wow. That would have been 1995?
96, that season.
1996, which was also an election year.
Yes.
Clinton versus Dole.
You know your politics.
I know when the election years are, let's say that.
All right. Bashful over here.
Well, you did mention the research, and so naturally,
Mm-hmm.
in conversations, that trickles out.
I am a bit more of a pop culture junkie, whereas I feel you're a little more book read, literally and figuratively.
Pop book. Pop book. Read.
Okay.
Well,
So, like, have you read, like, Scar Tissue by Anthony Kiedis? Is that the sort of thing?
yep, I've read it twice, as a matter of fact.
It's a good book. Check it out.
Who's listening?
Who's listening?
That you asked to check out that book.
Just the general public. I mean, I guess I do forget. I do a lot of niche things, and I do forget that this is my first foray into, a national audience or a universal audience, even.
Big Tent.
Yeah.
It's a Big Tent podcast.
Anthony Kiedis is the lead singer of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, who are a popular rock band, in case you don't know that. But it's a good read for anybody. I would say anybody above the age of, let's say, 13. Hey, Ike,
Yeah.
What's your turge? Hold for bumper.
What?
What's your turge? What's your detergent? What's your go-to laundry detergent?
Turge. Okay, yes.
Let me guess. I would guess you're a 7th generation guy.
I am not a 7th generation guy.
Fair enough. I took a shot in the dark.
Yes, and I actually don't really pay attention to the brand that I use.
Mm-hmm.
I buy detergent so infrequently, and when I do buy it, I buy it in as big of a size as I can.
Okay.
So usually whatever is on sale when I make my trip to Duane Reade, I remember actually 2009, I think it was 2009, Black Friday, day after Thanksgiving.
2009, an election year.
No, was not an election year. Maybe some local election somewhere, mayoral race. I suppose, from that perspective, every year is an election year somewhere.
I'm sorry.
Actually, I think that's was 2009 the Arab Spring? Yeah, when there was, so I think there were elections, and that's all to say that there were elections happening somewhere.
Yeah.
So 2009 Black Friday, I went to Duane Reade I was living in Bed-Stuy at the time, and I don't know why I went to Duane Reade, but they had a huge sale on laundry detergent, and I got two big ones for maybe $8-10 or so, and it lasted me at least a year and change. I did not purchase detergent again until 2010, which was a midterm election year, U.S. midterms.
Yeah, that's when the governors and
some senators and some reps.
See, I know my stuff.
Do the little dance. You do know your stuff, Brett.
Thanks.
For posterity, I just want to say that I recognize that you know your stuff.
It's not surprising to me that you like it bigger because you grew up in Texas.
Yes, and you know what they say about Texas. Everything is bigger in Texas.
Did you have those big lot stores? Did you have like I don't know. I grew up in New Jersey, so we had like BJ's was the go-to, but there were also like Costco and.
We had Costco. We did not have BJ's, and I don't know about Big Lots. I think We did, but down there in Texas, that's Walmart country down there. I
Okay,
mean,
so Sam's Club or just Walmart.
Old Sammy's Club and Walmart, both well established in the state of Texas, and most of the time that's where we did our shopping for detergent and whatever else you use when you're doing laundry.
And that makes sense that you're not a single serve pack kind of guy, because you grew up with those gigantic double sized bottles of detergent.
Mm-hmm. 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 I'm wondering if I want to turn the tide, but part of me feels that it's not the time to turn the tide. It's not the time to turn the tide. It could be a tongue twister in there.
I mean, well, first, I think this is going fine. I put the turn the tide thing because I can be a bit. I know not everybody wants to talk about laundry detergent, so I'll just move on into one of our segments. It's called "Give It a Spin." Hold for bumper. So a lot
Give
of
it a spin?
yeah. A lot of people like to listen to music while they do. Wait, what? He's touching the Tide. He's got his hand on the Tide bottle, but he hasn't turned it yet.
Only because there's the thing with the turning the tide and the give it a spin, and I thought,
Oh, give it a spin. I want to apologize. Give it a spin is actually a segment. I wasn't instructing you to give the Tide bottle a spin. Give it a spin is when we talk about what kind of music you like to soundtrack your laundry doing with.
that is not something I've ever paid attention to.
Mm-hmm. So you're more of a podcast guy. You would be listening to, say, the podcast for laundry while you're doing your laundry.
Well, I can't say that I ever have or would, although you can never predict the future with 100% accuracy. There might be a time where I do listen to this podcast while doing laundry. I'm in and out of the laundromat.
Okay. See, people say that, and I kind of take umbrage to it because the laundromat, the corridor of dreams, it is. I think they're, and you seem to like a pretty calm person. I think that is the most calming environment because there's a sanitary aspect to it, and there's just a white noise aspect to it with all the machines going. It's bright and it's usually cool, and people are making progress in their lives, and I think. And I'm not telling you how to live your life, but I think that there is really something to be learned, and I think you're doing yourself a disservice. But that is just my opinion, and I respect yours, whatever it is, but I think you leaving is bad.
Most people leave. I think I'm in the majority opinion.
What do you do?
When I leave,
Yeah.
I go home and typically do chores at the house. I think of it as killing two birds with one stone.
Mm-hmm.
If I weren't
That's great.
living
I
in
wish
New
I
York,
could turn the tide about that, but I wanted to talk to you, Ike, because you are a bit of a history buff.
Yes.
And I think that you've got one of the deepest minds, and I wanted to know if you knew anything about the history of laundry.
I'm not a scholar, and but I do know a bit of the history of laundry.
And I know a bit of it too. I'm not. I know the social side of it, and maybe the more romantic aspects of it. So I thought that a fun thing that we could do is actually try to combine our brains and give sort of
a more comprehensive view of
the
history of laundry.
Like an oral history almost. And whatever blanks we don't fill in, you're welcome to call in. We don't currently have an answering machine. So don't call in. When do you think humans were first forced to launder their clothes? I mean, that was probably very soon after clothing started, right?
Soon after, or there are some people who think that actually the act of doing laundry was conceived of first, and after that thought was conceived, clothes came after that, because you cannot have laundry without something to launder. So there is a sort of chicken and egg there, which came first, laundry or clothing. And there are people in both who believe in both of those, both sides of that argument.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really unclear exactly which one came first. I personally think that there is something about the act of doing laundry, and of course, in the early days, it was a manual task. It was done with one's hands. It provided a certain level of exercise, a certain level of physical activity, and so
and that was something that early man was kind of looking for, was some sort of exercise.
Yes, and you see that this isn't a historical artifact, but Kubrick's 2001 Space Odyssey, there's actually a deleted scene from the famous opening sequence with the apes, and they're discovering what they can and can't do. And there's actually a moment where there's this ape that mimes the act of scrubbing a piece of cloth up against a rock and dipping it into water. Of course, there was nothing there. It was complete, I don't know if pantomime is the right word, but it was just a physical gesture that was made repeatedly.
That's very interesting. So you're saying that not only was the idea of doing laundry, not only did that predate clothing itself, but the way you're describing it, and again, this is not a historical document, 2001, but it's almost as if humans were kind of born with this compulsion to clean clothes, clean clothes.
And that might be part of the reason why I don't stick around in laundromats, because society has advanced. The technology for washing clothes has advanced to such a point that I don't feel any real deep connection to the act of laundering. I drop off my clothing, I put it into the machine, it does everything. But in those early days, the earliest days, that was not the case. Are we moving forward as a society, or have we moved backward? I don't know.
It's funny that you brought up 2001, because just recently I have a dream journal, and I awoke in the middle of the night with the distinct and very visceral memory of a scene very similar to the opening of 2001 with Zarathustra, that song, but instead of the monolith, it was actually a Maytag Bravos electric dryer,
Really?
A really giant one, which is a dryer that, I live in New York. I don't have a washer dryer, but I'm always shopping for it. And that's the one, like, in my fantasy world where I do have my own home. I walk into my laundry area and I see the Maytag, Bravos, like sort of an 8x8, like a dryer, he's turning the tide. So
Nothing against Maytag. It's a fine brand.
yeah.
But
So when did laundry start becoming a reality? And what do you think was the first innovation in the world of laundry? Because I mean, you mentioned the act of the pantomiming of throwing wet clothing against a rock. How do you think that was? Because other animals don't do that. I think that's. Oh, I guess they don't have clothes.
my honest opinion,
Mm-hmm.
1956.
1956.
Yes,
That's very late in the game.
extremely.
Because I in my research, I thought that there was at least laundromats in the 1920s.
It depends on your definition of the laundromat.
Well, I guess you're from Texas,
Pre-modern.
so
I don't understand. What does that have anything to? What does that?
I just things kind of come later to Texas.
I've never. That's not a saying, and I don't exactly know what it.
I wasn't doing one of those dumb sayings. I was just implying that it
Things
takes a
come
while to get down there, But
from
me
up here. It takes a while to.
in the greater New York area, I think there were at least laundromats in the 1920s. But I'm not the book read historian.
You're not.
Hey, Forever Dog listeners, it's Jonathan Braylock
Draw Milligan.
And James the Third.
from Black Men Can't Jump in Hollywood. This year, we have seen what staying silent can do. And right now, you have an unprecedented opportunity to speak up, cast your vote, and be heard.
It's never too early to register to vote, but it might be too late before you know it.
We want to help make it easy for you to register and have a plan for November 3rd or before if early voting is an option in your state so that your country can finally reflect your values.
Yes, go to foreverdogpodcast.com/vote to register. Check on your registration often. You should do it like every day to make sure and learn how to fill out your ballot.
I don't know about every day, but listen,
Every day.
all right, still register.
Good. Am I good? All right.
Gotta make sure people care.
All right, each state is different, so make sure you're following local rules and regulations. And remember, your voice, your vote. That's foreverdogpodcast.com/vote.
Take care of yourselves and take care of each other.
Yeah, but y'all better vote.
All right, go vote.
Illegal bondware was just downloaded to your brain. That's the opposite of malware. Listen to Left-Handed Radio.
Hello, Forever Dog listeners. This is Julie Klausner,
And I'm Tom Sharpling.
and we host a podcast called Double Threat on the Forever Dog Network that we are commanding you to subscribe to. Tom, what is Double Threat?
Well, thank you for asking, Julie. Double Threat's a show where you and I listen to clips of things that drive us up the wall, and we make fun of them, and we make each other laugh, and we have a great time doing it.
And we watch silly things and listen to silly clips like Alec Baldwin interviewing Woody Allen on his podcast, which was a nightmare from hell.
And did you know that disgraced pizza magnate Papa John is giving tours of his mansion over on TikTok? We do, because we watched it, and it was not good.
By the way, we should also mention that the AV Club named us one of the best podcasts of 2020 because they did, and it's true, and we are, baby.
And here on Double Threat, we got great guests. We had guests like Desus and Mero,
Bob the Drag Queen,
Patton Oswalt,
Io Adebri,
And that, my friends, is just the tip of the iceberg.
That
Double
is.
Threat comes out each and every Monday, and you can subscribe on the Forever Dog Network, Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Do it. Subscribe. Goodbye.
I'm okay.
Laundromats.
Laundromats.
We all love them. Well, I love them.
I don't hate them. I just, I think the advantage of a laundromat is that you can have something do something while you do something else.
I have a little trivia fact for you.
Great.
And this I think might explain the reason why you think that laundromats didn't exist until the 50s was that laundromats actually weren't called laundromats in Texas. They were called washaterias. Now, did you have washaterias growing up?
We did have washaterias. Yeah.
The first washaterias opened in the 1950s. It's just a cultural, it's an alternate name for laundromats.
I see. Well, you learn something new every day.
But I also think that was the first of, the larger coin-operated self-service laundry structures. And this is just a general question about your own life. Did you notice a distinct change in laundry styles when you came to New York City from Texas?
A difference in styles of doing laundry, moving from Texas to New York.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the biggest shift, I would say, is in Texas, laundry is a
Bigger.
domestic
Sorry.
game
Mm-hmm.
that happens within the home, within the apartment complex. There is no traveling to a laundromat. There's no search for the best laundromat for your lifestyle. And coming to New York, you have to grapple with that. For the most part, there are some people, I myself did, for about a year and a half, have a washer and dryer unit in my apartment, but that was the exception to the rule.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of been when I thought of this podcast idea, I was kind of in my New York bubble, the same New York bubble that many say the political climate was affected by. And I don't want to bring politics into this. This is a show about laundry. It's for everybody. But I didn't realize that I'd say a good 90% of people do their laundry at home.
Yes, most of the rest of the country.
Yeah, at least in the United States. So that is a different upbringing for me. I went and did laundry not at home growing up. So
growing up, you did not do laundry at home?
No, we had a laundromat down the street. It was called Roxbury Cleaners, and they had dry cleaning in the back, and they had about 10 washer dryers, washers and dryers up front, and they had a little vending machine that it had little like fun treats in those little balls with the caps on it. And they had a little M&M dispenser that always had peanut M&Ms, never plain. And sometimes I'd go searching for, loose quarters that had fallen on the ground. And
it sounds like you spent a lot of time at that laundromat.
Well, yeah, it was actually the first responsibility I had. My parents... They they didn't love doing laundry. It was one of the many things they didn't love. And so they would actually leave it to me. So I learned laundry at a remarkably young age, maybe 5 or 6 years old.
And you did it for the family?
I did it for the whole family. So it'd be a real day long. I mean, I've got a brother and a sister, and it would be a whole day long experience. They dropped me off at the laundromat with just enough money to do the load for the loads for the entire family. So I'd get dropped off there 10, 11 in the morning, and I'd be there until 6 or 7 or 8 at night. And that was my first experience with okay, I'm responsible for something, and I'm really doing something to service everybody else. They would go do their weekend activities, and they'd always, every Saturday, they'd all go to TGI Fridays, which I never got to do. But I did get to experience the laundry, the world of laundry. And, I'd go digging for extra quarters. And if I got the extra quarters, maybe I'd get those peanut M&Ms, and then I'd have a little snack for myself for the day. Whereas if I didn't have an extra quarter, I'd just kind of be sitting there hungry, watching the TV and watching those Sizzler commercials and stuff pop up.
Mm. I can't help but think of the movie Matilda.
I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen the movie Matilda. That's
No.
okay. That's okay. There's plenty of movies I haven't seen, so I don't normally judge people for not seeing a movie. But there's a sequence where young Matilda, I guess Matilda is young throughout the entire movie.
Mm-hmm.
A slightly younger Matilda does many adult things because her parents are, what's the word? They basically neglect her.
In the 1970s, there was a big explosion of laundry, I think because the dynamics of cities were changing. And how do you think that kind of changed the perception of laundry? Because I think that washateria style, these big 24-hour laundromats were starting to pop up in major cities, and we had just a whole different style of doing laundry. How do you think the 70s were?
The 1970s.
Laundry-wise, they're bad, generally.
Well, I was not personally around during the 1970s.
Mhm.
I have not really read about laundry in the 1970s. I feel that I'm just sort of shooting from the hip, as it were. I'm just reflecting on the fact that there are many artifacts that we can look back on from different time periods, but one artifact that we cannot really directly access is how things smelled. I'd like to assume that laundry practices produced the same level of cleanliness that we enjoy today, but the world being what it is, things are constantly changing. I wonder if indeed the 1970s smell, garment smell, would to the modern nose be smelly. That's a great question.
It's funny you mentioned this. I've heard of there are homes in Europe which are designed for the elderly, specifically the elderly with brain issues, that are designed.
Sorry, brain issues?
Yeah, just Alzheimer's and things of that nature, and a lot of it is
described as brain issues before.
What is Alzheimer's effect?
Yes, it's technically an accurate term, but it feels, I don't know.
So they're going a little crazy, and they are their caretakers will actually take them to these houses, which are designed visually to look like, let's say, the 1950s or the 40s or what have you, or that they will also have smells. And I think one of the smells I read about was actually a laundry smell that, for whatever, changes they've made in the chemicals that they use to produce laundry is actually a new smell.
Mm. Well, I'm sure they're very comfortable because of that detail.
I never
Brings them comfort.
I always think of there's a specific smell of the Roxbury cleaners. I've never been able to find what the cleaner was. I've looked into it. I've asked wholesale companies, that sell cleaning equipment and stuff, like, what, like, do you know who takes care of the Morris County, New Jersey area? Because I really can't get this smell of the Roxbury cleaners out of my head. And every Saturday, sometimes Sundays, if we had a big load, if Grandma was over for the weekend, I'd spend so much time there with that smell. And they say smells are they're the thing, they're the thing that, if you smell a perfume, you'll have so many memories. I'm getting off topic. I'm sorry.
Is the Roxbury, is it still there?
Oh, it's still there.
Okay.
Sometimes I will take a train to my hometown and just kind of sit in there. I still have, my family still lives there, but I don't,
do they do their own laundry now?
I think they just do drop off. I think it was sort of like because I had a brother that was entering college around the time when I was, 8 or 9. So I think there was a conscious effort to sort of save money. And part of it was, kind of putting me to work. Although, they did go out to eat every Saturday.
At
TGI Fridays.
TGI Fridays.
Yeah. It was actually in the same complex. So while I was sitting in the laundromat, I could actually see the TGI Fridays. I could see them kind of do that long walk across the parking lot. But, I always think that they would bring me back something. Maybe a piece of cake or something.
I'm sorry. Wait, were you happy about being at the laundromat or not? I got the sense that you felt affectionate or good about being left alone, but it also sounds as though you missed your family. That whatever you got from the laundromat was not enough to address.
The laundromat was good. It was a good place for me. I think it taught me discipline. I think in the same way that a boarding school might teach an unruly kid discipline, which I totally wasn't unruly. I was actually very quiet. Had to be. And the laundromat was kind of my little oasis away from, the troubles of life, the screaming and the breaking things and stuff like that. Growing up, with a teenage brother and sister and, just a kind of chaotic house life. It was actually kind of nice to get away. But
maybe
a lot of that screaming was directed towards me. Because I guess I was a scapegoat.
Well, I'm sorry to learn about this aspect of your
No.
personal history.
No. You don't know. If you knew the kind of stress that they were under, it would totally make sense. And I'm not trying to be woe is me about it. I loved being at the laundromat, and it's some of the best memories of my life. And I think that's part of the reason why I love laundromats to this day, is because I spend so much time learning about the craft and trying to get the perfect square fold to impress the family, and trying to get everything done in time so that maybe they could come and pick me up early if I could find some money for a payphone.
Well, again, it's not entirely clear whether.
I wish I had a washer dryer at home, I guess. But that I wouldn't be the person I am today.
A person who enjoys, although enjoys laundromats.
I enjoy them.
It sounds like it's a safe place for you.
Okay, like when you
yes,
like you're having a fun night and you sit under the kitchen table and you kind of grasp the legs of the table
as
really
a
tight.
child or
No, as an adult, like if you're just kind of having a few drinks and goofing off, and you get under the table and you hold on real tight, and it just kind of feels safe and fun and comfortable. It's kind of like that.
I don't know that I understand, Brett. I've never had that. I don't think I've really spent a lot of time under tables unless I had something to do, like pick up something that fell.
Sometimes it's the safest place to be.
Yeah, I guess.
So in the 90s, we had the key card system start to proliferate, and into the 2000s, it's hard to find coin-operated laundry.
My laundromat is a coin-operated laundromat.
Oh, it is?
To cut you off.
Okay, so and it's not this one. You go to a different laundromat.
My personal laundromat is in Brooklyn, New York.
So,
I did live near a laundromat that did take cards. In fact, I think, are you okay? Am I, I'm sorry. You're breathing in and out.
What?
And,
people breathe. People breathe.
Yes. And, usually it's not particularly audible.
That reminds me. Sometimes people like to read books while they do laundry, and if
There's
you
no way
like
that
reading books,
I don't think. I think you are.
maybe you'd enjoy listening to books via
This isn't.
Audible.com, who I hope will be a sponsor for the podcast for laundry.
I wish you luck. I hope they're listening. The Audible reps.
They're listening.
All right.
So let's wrap things up. How do you feel about the future of laundry? I mean, we've seen that the different laundry companies are actually investing and opening their own laundromats across the world. I think that's something we're going to see in the United States. Obviously, there's the environmental issues that they're making developments in and trying to make it a little more eco-friendly. What do you see as the future of laundry?
Well, I think the future of laundry will. We're seeing a shift in, I think, the retail experience at this moment in time.
Mm-hmm.
People are looking to have an experience, not necessarily do something related to the
I'm going to cut you off, and I think one thing that they should really improve is just safeguarding things. like you said, when you started to do laundry in NYU, you didn't know the things. I'm sure at some point you had a white shirt come out pink, or maybe if you tried to bleach something, there was a stain or something. And, in certain situations, something like that could lead to a real hard smack in the face. So I think that.
I'm sorry, a hard smack in the... Are you okay, Brett?
Yeah. I'm good. What's up?
I hope you are okay. That's all that's up.
Hey, I'm good.
Are you sure you should be hosting a show about laundry? This seems like a very volatile subject for you to be discussing on a regular basis with people for an audience, and you're breathing again.
People breathe.
Troubles.
People breathe.
People do.
Ike, thanks so much for being on the show. If
Really?
people want to check out your fucking your shows, where can they find them? What's your website?
They can go to Ike himself.
Ike himself dot something.
com.
Thanks so much, Ike, for being
I don't appreciate, and I don't mind saying this in front of whatever audience the show has.
big audience. Everybody does laundry.
Everybody does laundry. Yes.
Well, not everybody. Sometimes it's left to one person in the household, but everybody deals with laundry in one way or another.
I
And
feel
maybe you think because you're book smart that this is a fool's errand.
You brought up the books. I didn't bring the book smarts to the tape.
You did with your fucking diction and your snobbery. And I don't appreciate
Diction
it.
does not equal snobbery.
I didn't say anything about addiction.
Diction, DICTION. Brett, I don't want to argue. I don't want to fight. That is not in my nature. What I simply want to do is urge you to maybe consider a different mode of expression to work through whatever issues you have with laundry. I
love laundry.
And the
I
place.
don't have any issues with laundry.
I think your love
This is my
similar to
Zen-
the love of an abuse, like their relationships where people are abused.
Do you know how
and they
crazy you
cannot-
sound right now?
How crazy do I sound from your perspective?
I was abused by laundry.
I think no, not the laundry.
Laundry's been only good to me.
I think you're clinging to laundry because of your experiences in the home.
Well, he's a therapist too. Thanks so much for coming on the show, Ike.
Oh, it was a pleasure and a joy, Brett.
Fine.
Forever Dog. This has been a Forever Dog production. Executive produced by Joe Cilio, Alex Ramsey, and Brett Boehm. For more podcasts, please visit foreverdogproductions.com.
Can you afford to not know what left-handed radio is? You probably answered no, right? That's where you landed?